All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Serious Angler Podcast, where, as always, our main course for you will be talking and hopefully teach you more about bass fishing. But of course, that does not come without a distraction here or there. Whether you're here to learn or just hear some bassin banter, you guys are in the right spot. I'm your host, Bailey Egbrett, and joined with me is the bassin captain, Mr. Andy Full. Unfortunately, we are without Idaho's finest another week, so make sure you guys put in some Deacon lists, Sheekin lists, tease, whatever you got to put in there. Tease Deacon down in the chat or send some DMs to poke some fun at him because I guess it took little too long to get his boat from the marina, and he had to miss today's episode. But all good. We are here because we got a fun one ahead for you guys, as you could probably tell by the title. Is that we're talking poop baits? I guess to put it bluntly, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely scattered around. So it was
This guy, nice.
it was a good time. And I think Deacon needs a permanent, instead of where's Waldo, it's now where's Deacon.
Where's the Sheekin?
Where's Sheekin? And we're gonna have to get him a Waldo costume. So
we're gonna have to do something. So make sure you guys tease him, especially if you're on the YouTube watching this. Make sure you tease him down in the comments. If you guys are listening on MP3, shoot him a DM and yell, "Come on, Sheekin," or just say Sheekin lists in his DMs, whatever have you. Poke some fun at him. But either way, we got a fun episode. But Andy, what's the life been like in the full household and I guess in the north, which I don't know why I'm asking because I already know the answer. There's nothing to do right now in the wind. The north sucks.
I mean, we could go hike on a frozen Lake Erie that looks like the Arctic tundra. That's about what we have going on here. The whole household has been sick. We're coming out of it, I think, now, maybe. I don't know. I'm a little under the weather, but we're here and surviving. I know you're getting ready for a big trip coming up, and I'm sure you're thrilled about that.
I am counting down the days. I am avoiding all humanity so that I can try to not get anything before I leave for my travels.
Smart move.
But nonetheless, yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun because we're going to Tennessee first, and that's where I'm gonna see Rudd and then the Sniper Marine crew. Which, if folks did not catch the episode we did Monday, Deacon and I did Monday, was seriously Western. We had Ish Monroe on there. We were actually talking in the beginning about Sniper Marine and how he has one on his boat for this season. And the Jones Marine folks over in Idaho, apparently they've never heard of the Sniper Marine, and they were selling those babies like hotcakes because people walking in, they're like, "What is that there pole you got sitting off the console?" And people were very intrigued. So it was cool to see the Sniper Marine getting some love. I'm going to do some filming with them. We're going to do a podcast with them down in Tennessee, but especially do some fishing. So you guys have a bunch of content to look forward to on this channel, but also on my personal channel. I'll be filming with that. I got Rudd. Rudd's hooked up with a sniper pole now, so I'm gonna go teach him how to use forward facing from the kayak.
Oh boy, that's
got himself some Mega Live too, so we're gonna go help him get it dialed. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. We get a couple days with the boys, and then I get basically a week or so to myself in Texas to go fun fish. Just go meander around and chase some giants. Hopefully, chase some giants, and then got the big natty to prepare for on Lake Fork. So it's gonna be a jam-packed March because then you're flying down. Got the classic for the weekend at Ray Roberts. So we'll be there in the DFW for anybody that's going to be there. If you're at the expo, give us a shout. We'll be around. And then we fly home. Well, you fly home, I drive home, and then I have to fly to California because this year I'll be flying to every BAM Tour event on the West Coast with Deacon, who's competing in it. I will be covering it with the camera. So no fishing out there for me, but I'll be shooting something different, and that is from the camera and some content for them.
We missed a glorious opportunity here. I should have just done a one-way flight, and then we could have had just road talks the whole way home.
Just one 24-hour continuous podcast. That would have been very interesting.
Would we still be friends after 24 hours straight of talking? I think
we might need a break. We might need like a month break, I think, after that. We'd be okay. We'll make it out alive, but we might need a break from each other for a while.
You stay there.
You stay in Texas.
Yeah, but no, it's funny. I keep looking at the weather. I'm like, when am I going to take my boat in to get its service for the year? And when do I think I'll be able to fish for the first time? Dude, it's looking like April, maybe, based on the long range. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to get some steelhead trips in. I got a couple booked at the beginning of March, and I'm like, I might be moving those to April. Like, it's not good.
It's icy, bro. I mean, I was hoping by the time I get back from Cali, fly home, it would be essentially, I think, yeah, when I fly back, it is that Monday, April 1st, basically. And that is, I was hoping lakes would be open for us by then so I could get home, get situated, go fishing, that early spring. It might not be till mid-April, which is wild because our local kayak trail here always has our charity event this mid to, third quarter
Yeah.
of April. And I was telling them, like, we'll probably have the tournament, but like, don't be surprised if the water temps are like 38 to 40 degrees for that
Oh, it's
event.
gonna
Like
be
it's gonna
they're
be
gonna
cold.
bite. They're gonna
They're gonna
bite
freaking chew, that's for sure.
because
But
it's gonna go straight like, I actually enjoy springs like this because it goes straight from ice to, like, 50 degrees in 4 weeks. And, I mean, you miss that big pre-spawn swing a lot of the times unless you're on the water on the right day,
yeah,
but it just, like I feel like they bite better when it warms up super quick as opposed to that elongated spring like we've had the
yeah,
last
we're like
couple of years.
weather doesn't matter much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like if it's glass and sunny, they're gonna eat. If it's
Yeah.
windy and blowing, they're gonna eat. Or
Yeah.
excuse me, windy and overcast, they're gonna eat. Yeah, no, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I remember like the one spring. I want to say it was literally COVID year. So I spent so much time on the water. Um, like 2020, we had that quick heat up early spring where it got the temps to like 40, 42, and then got like continuously cold. And
Yeah.
we got the perfect window of like 2-3 weeks where it stayed like 42 to 46-degree water, and like so all those fish moved up and then just halted there in their pre-spawn mode, and we just got to lay the wood to them for every day.
Dude, I got
So
stuck. It's awesome
yeah,
when that
yeah,
happens.
stay there. And you see like any warm days coming up, you're like, no, stop.
Yeah. I it's crazy, like, as soon as that water hits a certain degree, like, it feels like it's not numbers that moves up, but it's giants,
Yeah,
especially where we're at, and then as the water hits, like, 50, 55, that's when you start catching a lot of numbers and all different sizes of fish, so I'm all for that colder water haunts, but I don't think we're gonna get that this year. I think it's gonna go straight from ice to like 50 degrees in 3 or 4 weeks, and they'll be spawning like 3 to 4 weeks after the ice comes off the lakes. It's gonna be wild.
it's gonna it's gonna make things interesting. Who knows though? I mean, it is New York, especially. It's the North. Weather is always freaky here. So we'll see how all of that comes to fruition.
You know, the
But
biggest thing I'm worried about at this moment is Lake Ontario flooding again this year. Because once you get north of Syracuse, the snowpack on the eastern end of Lake Ontario is ungodly at the moment. It's like 150 to 200 inches thick in spots of
hmm,
compacted snow. There's a little town up there in between Watertown and Syracuse that got 372 inches of snow this year
huh,
that dumps into Lake Ontario through a little creek.
damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had
So
that a couple years ago, and it was like, wasn't it like only it was idle only in the bays off of
yeah,
Lake Ontario?
yeah. So like my town that I live in, we got 157 inches of snow this year. So we're doing pretty good too.
Doing all right.
Yeah. Yeah, but like we have like a
Oh man,
hard crust of like 15 inches of just pure ice and snow. That's not going to melt anytime soon. Like it's going to take 4 days of rain and like 50-degree temps to melt it. We're like living on a glacier at the moment.
goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have as much snow where you're at and you're only like 10 minutes away.
we got maybe like half a foot
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, like ours was like 2-3 feet, but it's condensed down into like a foot. But it's you can walk across it and not make a footprint. It's so hard.
It's a nasty time to be in the north.
Yeah.
Exactly why we're going south, boys.
Yes. And that's why we talk poop baits and giant flukes today. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
dreaming of warmer weather.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, as we continue on, we would want to get into today's show with Mr. Jake Maddox. We'll be talking poop baits, some giant flukes, things like that. A different twist on some pretty unique baits that we'll walk through what they are, the setups for them, the things you need, and then where to apply those as either alternatives for baits or as where to apply them in their unique circumstances. So this is a cool one for you guys. We have a couple of these different style shows coming up where it's kind of lure labby. This certainly could be a lure lab type show, but we're really diving into more of the application of these baits, where you can throw them, where it's an alternative for what you're throwing, and how you can apply that from a fishing standpoint. So we'll dive into some of the deep dives that we want to do on certain tackle. We'll do here at Serious Angler, whereas the Lure Lab's great at the quick hitter. Here's what you need to know. Here's the quick juice. Now go fishing. So it's we have that, but before we get on with Jake Maddox, some business from the Bass Boat for you guys. And as always, business from the Bass Boat is brought to you by our friends over at Rec Lending. So if you guys currently own or are looking to own a bass boat or RV, any sort of your toys, the Rec Lending folks are the people to go to if you guys are looking to get into it or refinance. If you want to have your toys and be able to afford them much more efficiently, make it easier on you, and also be protected and all that jazz, they are the best people to call. So look at the contact information down in our, whether it's on YouTube or MP3, it's in our show description. You guys can reach out to them, tell them the Serious Angler folks called you. They have been backing the Business from the Bass Boat segment for 2025. And so a couple things, not a big week for us for the Business from the Bass Boat. There's a couple things going on right now. There's still some rumblings about Hobie kayaks selling. Apparently there's a few new buyers now. But there's a whole bunch of crap that's going on with that, and we'll try to keep you guys updated because I know we do have a good amount of kayak folk that tune into this show. And then as well, we got Elite Series Derb kicking off this week. Well, a second one wrapping up. As we're actually filming this, one is wrapping up right now. Billy Lowen is leading over in the St. Johns River. So excited as we record this anyway to see who won that. Of course, there is a winner already as you guys tuned into the show on a Wednesday. And then tomorrow kicks off the Bassmaster Elite Series second event on Lake Okeechobee. Sounds like the lake is doing a little bit better. I guess we'll be able to see all that full spotlighted next week. But beyond that, thing I saw for the Elite Series, you can now watch on Roku. So I don't know how many people are Roku. Are you a Roku kind of guy, Andy?
I am not a Roku guy. I know
don't know what
it's a
Roku
big
is.
streaming remote. I'm not a big TV watcher, period, unless it's like USA Canada hockey games, football games on
Oh,
Sundays.
dude.
And yeah, that's about the extent of my TV watching and some shows here and there on like your
Yeah.
favorite downloadable apps like Apple TV or Netflix, but that's really it. I'm not a big TV streamer person.
To be honest, I didn't know what Roku was till they announced that you can now watch Bassmaster on Roku. So are they still on FS1 then? Like, can you still watch on the weekends on
I guess
FS1?
we'll know the answer to it next
By the
Wednesday.
time the show airs, we'll know the answer to that.
Yes.
It'll be a very
Yeah.
dumb question to have on this podcast as the show
Yes.
airs. But either way, dude, we got to talk about that for a little bit. Actually, that hockey game, hockey's so back, dude.
Yeah.
That game
Until
brought it back.
well, yeah, hockey is back, right? But now that we're past that event and the NHL regular season has ramped back up, I'm curious to see how the viewership of regular NHL hockey games go. But did you see the network, the tune in like analytics for it? How many people tuned into that game on ESPN?
Absurd.
9.3 million just on
Pretty
ESPN.
good.
That's not bad for hockey. That's huge. It's huge.
Now, what's crazy is you put it in terms of football, and that's half a football game.
Yeah, it's tiny compared to like I think
But it's way better than freaking NBA. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
NBA is, I don't care. You're 4 now. NBA is 4. NHL's 3. I don't know what the MLB analytics are for viewership, and I honestly don't care. Sorry, baseball people. I mean, in my world, NHL's always been 1, but either way, I think I'd be curious to see if they were actually like anticipated something this big coming out of this Four Nations deal instead of the All-Star weekend, but they created the biggest buzz for hockey. Like I haven't seen so many people that weren't hockey people buzzing about this game before. Like if you went on social media or Twitter, whatever, and you were scrolling, like I was watching, the Bussin' with the Boys, the Barstool guys, Pat McAfee show, all of them were electric. Like tuning into this game. And dude, it was just a cool feeling to see like hockey is so back, dude. Hockey is back. And I think what this is gonna do, in high hopes anyway. Who knows if Gary Bettman, whatever the hell he's gonna do. But I think I think the NHL sees this and I think that lights the fire, hopefully, that they're going to strive towards improving the NHL regular season and then going into playoffs. Because playoff hockey, what people witnessed, if you've never watched hockey, if you watched USA versus Canada,
Oh, that was playoff hockey.
that was
To the
playoff hockey.
T.
So you get that, but for multiple series, multiple teams in a game of best of 7, which can actually be long, but like when it's your team and like you're invested in it, it is amazing to follow. So like that was such a good game, and I want people to understand this too because I told you guys this in our group chat. I told I had another group chat I have on the side with all my hockey buddies, and I told them I was like, guys, like when we're watching this game, cherish this because this might be some of the best hockey we've ever watched and we'll watch for a very long time.
Oh, it was
Granted, there's some incredible players from other nations like Czech and Russia and stuff like that. But when you're talking about USA Canada, you're talking about a bulk of the talent, and it's all on 2 rosters going head to head.
you know,
Like best players in the world. And
it's
they're
kind of crazy to think
awesome.
too, like Finland and Sweden, which were the other 2 teams. I don't know if you tuned in and watched any of the highlights from those games, but they didn't look that far out of place, which was actually
No,
kind of surprising.
they're there. I feel like, and this is what's so crazy. Like if you looked going into this event, you looked on paper, you're like Canada's going to blow everybody out of the water. These guys, I mean, the average, I shouldn't say the average, the talent, the average talent, you'll say on those rosters is so much higher than the rest of, I feel like the rest of the NHL that your superstars, like when you talk about a McDavid and a Crosby, and a McKinnon and so on and so forth, it's only small categories that they're so much better in than somebody else. It makes them enough to stand out. But like the other players on those rosters, they're still superstars in their own right.
Huh.
You know,
Yeah,
they're
they're all first line centers or first pair D men.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're incredible. And so we were
Dylan
spoiled with
Larkin,
that hockey.
unreal hockey talents playing like 6 minutes a night on Team USA.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
it's absurd. You got fourth liners that are first liners in the NHL. Like it's just the reality of it. And we're gonna see that. I'm so excited for Olympics next year, dude. Oh my God, it's gonna go off. But like it's cool to watch that, and especially the passion behind it, especially when you talk about playing for your country and everything. I don't care about the politics crap. I love that there's NHL guys getting in there saying this is about hockey. This is not about
yeah.
politics. This is just fueled passion, country versus country. And so as much as I hated seeing the US lose last night, it was an incredible game, deep into overtime, as close gets.
And of course, it
Hard
was
fought
Hockey
battle.
McJesus that scored too, right? Like Connor
Yeah,
McDavid.
doesn't do anything all night, but scores the OT winner. But I mean, it's McDavid, dude. He's
Can't leave him
unreal.
wide open in the slot 10 feet.
No, what do you expect is gonna happen? Like it's like leaving Ovechkin wide open on the left hash with
Yeah.
just nobody on him. What do you think's gonna? Of course he's gonna score. So
At
it's
age 40, he's still gonna rip it.
dude, he's still got the best one time clapper. But yeah, it was cool. I was texting Gussie last night because I heard him on stage. So many guys yesterday, or well, during the St. John's River on the way in, talking about that, like go Canada, go US, whatever, some fun chirps. But I was texting him like, dude, this would be so much fun if You guys had Tom Wilson on Canada, and we had the big buff in his prime.
Oh my
Just to
god.
start laying some lumber out there, because it was the U.S. did so well because they brought the bully game,
Yeah.
like Brady Kachuk just throwing bodies, which my wife ended up going to bed because she told me I was obnoxious because I was just like getting like I wasn't drunk at all. I had zero alcohol in me, but I was like a drunk fan out there, like
Oh yeah.
fucking kill him.
The first game was so exciting when Brady could shot. No, it was
Matt
he ended up
Brady
missing.
and JT Miller
No,
all fought.
I was talking about the hit from I can't think of his name right
Oh
now.
yeah, Charlie McAvoy
Yeah, now he's
when he
hurt.
lit up McDavid,
Yeah, he was throwing bodies, and then he got an infection from like a painkiller
an
shot in
AC
the
tear or
shoulder.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, they went to go give him a painkiller injection, and they gave him an infection in his shoulder, and he's gonna miss like
the rest of the
significant
season.
time. Yeah,
Yeah,
unreal.
it's pretty brutal. I mean, he's so good. They definitely missed him on championship night, but that first game was
Jacob
so
Slavin.
electric. I don't care who won that game. It was like if you didn't love that, regardless of any like where you watched from or country, whatever that game was, the definition of electric, just from the story of like you boo an anthem, and so they're like, okay, we're gonna fight you now.
Yeah.
It's like that scene in Deadpool with Wolverine where he goes, "Oh, you got nothing to say now, mouth." And he goes,
Yeah,
"I'm gonna fight you now."
pretty much.
That's what it was. It was so good. I
Uh,
absolutely love to see it. But we'll talk about this for a whole nother hour if you let me keep going. So I think without further ado, last couple things for you guys before we get with Jake Maddox at Omnia Fishing right now. Of course, as always, you can use our code Series 10, save 10% off. But right now, 20% off Lose Rods and Reels. And make sure you guys use our code on some of that new stuff that's out right now, as well as some of the depths and different baits that we talk about in this episode. But the new Berkeley Maxent Stank Bug that just got dropped, the new
Making
Outcast.
waves down there too in these couple Florida events. Guys are catching them up with it.
Sounds like it, especially Mr. Johnny Cox. Um, New Outcast Tackle, Radar Love, forward facing sonar jig head that just dropped. And then lastly, we might dive into a little bit in this show, but the new Hide Up Koiki, I think I'm pronouncing that, but that
Quakey
giant
mate.
dice Koiki, that large dice bait or creature bait, however you want to categorize that thing. Freaky. I hate that I ordered one, but we ordered one. And so make sure you guys check that out. But without further ado, Mr. Jake Maddox.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, welcome to the shit show where we talk about true poop and big flukes.
That perfect. You just nailed the intro right there. I don't have to say anything else. Because the show is literally going to be about this poop bait isn't shit.
Yeah.
That's the title of the damn show. But,
Oh
oh man. Well, what better time to get this show started off than that right there? We're joined by none other than Mr. Jake Maddox, no stranger to the Serious Angler Network. Obviously having a couple shows here in Serious Angler, and of course, joining Andy over on the Lure Lab. But Jake, what's going on, man? I don't even know what people are expecting getting into the show by the title of this thing.
Just hanging out, talking fishing with my buddies. So that's what a rip.
Yeah.
So
well, before we get into the bulk of today's conversation, what's been the fishing like for you recently? Derbs, all that stuff. Kind of give us a little recap of winter, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, just fishing some local stuff around the house, staying on Lake Lanier mainly. Fished AV8, Eufaula, just because I missed that place. That's kind of like my home away from home is Eufaula. So went down there, lost some big ones, caught some big ones, but did all right down there. Not great. I think I could have done pretty good if I would have landed a few, but it happens when you're throwing treble hooks and big minnows. And then
Big
just
minnows.
fishing Lanier a bunch. And it's been pretty fun winter. And there's like these little high school kids that just been giving me hell, though. They've been there's ham kids with that live scope. They're just kicking everybody's butt. I mean, they literally
them damn kids and their live poke.
I know. Well, get this. Let me say this. Second place was 24.98 all spots. The sister
Holy crap!
that, yeah.
On Eufaula?
24.98 all spots. That was second place. and the high schoolers, they just started driving. Like they're seven. They turned 17 yesterday. One of them turned 17 yesterday, but they had 25 something. But there was 3 bags over 24 pounds. 2 of those were all spots. They had 2 big largemouth, but the guys that won, the high school kids. But yeah, just catching big spots pretty much, a couple times a week. And it's just hard to, you catch 18, 19 pounds of spots, and that's like, oh yeah, I caught them, but not really there, So it's been fun. Catching a lot of fish. Fish are starting to slide up shallow a little bit. It's been really cold though. Like we got some warm weather, and then all of a sudden it got down into like, it actually snow flurried yesterday. So water temps are really cold, but blueback herringfish, basically from everything you know about them, they do the exact opposite of what they should be doing. So a lot of these fish are either in 50 foot of water or they're in like 5, 6. So been fun, keeping you diverse, keeping me fishing. So
do you find that when the water's real cold that like the magnum spots will get up like dirt shallow for no reason?
yeah, definitely. Like both, like you'll catch 150 foot of water in a tree, and then like they'll be just dirt shallow, and then like it's kind of crazy because like the other day I fished a tournament, and like the ditch bite hasn't been that great. Like it's more like 2 and 3 pounders in ditches, like the traditional herring stuff. But there's like certain types of ditches that it's like not really the traditional like long skinny creek pocket, ditch that like the big ones get in, and they'll just be like, dirt shallow, or like be on a tree or last dock in a pocket, and like you'll actually like look around and actually see the herring like floating around, and like you'll hit your trolling motor, and then like they'll spook the school spook, and then like a big spot or a big largemouth will run right through them. Like, I mean, I heard of an 8-pound largemouth getting caught last week, and like, I mean, you literally see giant ones everywhere you go. Like, I'm gonna start doing like spotting bass, love it, but I'm actually gonna start doing some largemouth trips and swim bait trips the next couple months, just because it's something different, and there's some ginormous ones on this lake. So gonna try to.
Well, it sounds like you got some goodies you could be playing with.
Yeah, for sure. So, yep. What about y'all? How's y'all's winter been? Staying warm?
Opposite.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the blue herring are everywhere for us. The big spots and largemouth are blowing through them. The fish has been great.
Yeah.
Got to make sure that drill gets through that 1.5 foot of ice. And
no, for sure.
A foot and a half. I'm hearing from satellite imaging, there's 48 to 60 inches of ice on Erie in spots right now.
That's insane. That's like actually insane.
Yeah.
I guess y'all really didn't have ice.
Like
it's where shove ice and stuff pushes in, but like I've heard of like looking at the forums and stuff, there's spots where guys are drilling like flat ice where it's 24 to 30 inches.
That's insane.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, I went out to one of our finger lakes, Cuca Lake, because that's where Morgan Marine is, where I go get my kayak every year, and they rig it, everything. And one of my buddies was ice fishing out there right in front of the marina, so I went out and just hang with him for a little bit. And he's like, "Yeah," he goes, like he wanted to move around, go fish a bunch that day, but he only has like the hand one where you have to like literally manually, basically like churn butter in order to get through the ice.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, he's like, look how thick the ice is. He goes, I'm doing this once. I'm not doing this for the rest of the day because the ice is like 1.5 foot.
Oh, yeah. It's like 10 minutes just to drill a hole manually.
Well, yeah, and then you're that, and then you're bundled up, so you're sweating afterwards trying to get through there. Your arms hurt, and you're like, yeah, this is where we're staying for us today, fish or not. No choice. Yeah, brutal. Excited to get down south, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Texas should be good. They should be snapping. But,
hope so, man. Hope so.
Hopefully, he doesn't drag the weather with him.
Yeah, you don't put that juju on me. You knock on wood right now. Yeah, your head is right. For folks that are listening, he's knocking on his head, which is perfect. But dude, to get into the topic of conversation. You and I were talking for I think the weeks leading up to this on one, just big flukes. And I think that's one that you're really proficient with. But then also, there's always been the jokes about the poop baits, right? People coming out, obviously Depth's leading the way, I think, in the States with those. And then obviously a couple brands have come out with their version of it. And it's almost kind of been part of a joke, but people actually catching fish on them, like really talking about how they use them in applications, whether it's replacing jigs or Texas rig or whatever it may be. I even saw in recent videos of Milliken, like he's been throwing them on the hush hush. I could see him tied on that he's been throwing in Texas, and it's one where I ended up buying because I'm like I need to try this thing. Just one because it's funny because I'm a child and I'll always be a child, but like two, like catching them on it, like there's enough people throwing them where I think it has. We need to talk about them, and I thought who better than a guy that's actually partnered with Depths that's played around with it to talk about the old cover scat. And so
Yeah.
I guess to get into that is how the hell do you even fish this thing? For somebody's looking
Yeah.
at this on a shelf at the tackle shop or on Omnia or whatever it may be, they see that thing and they're like, where the hell, like what does this replace for me? What is this an alternative for? I guess kind of break it down for us.
Whoops. Hang on. So
instead of throwing shit at the wall, he's actually grabbing shit off the wall.
that right there is a
Yes.
Raimi Infinity 4-aught. So basically just a wide gap hook, and I will take my bait of choice. Cover Scat probably is going to be the one I throw the majority of the time. Yamamoto makes one, the Yamatanuki. That one's really good as well. There's several different brands on the market, but most of the time I'm going to start out throwing, it's just like a 3-inch, like a 3.5 inch cover Scat. That's what I throw probably most of the time. My favorite color is number 28, which is like kind of like a scumper nog kind of color. I keep it pretty simple. I throw it on 20-pound.
So that's like reddish.
Yeah, it's kind of like a reddish brownish kind of color. When I'm throwing this guy, I'm pretty much targeting fish that are eating crawfish. So, I mean, if you think about like all the baits that can resemble a crawfish, you pretty much just have a crankbait and you got a jig. I mean, what other baits really resemble a crawfish great? There might be a tube or the guys up north, but like for the guys down south in our rotation of baits, we really don't have a lot of great crawfish imitators. Like the ones that, sure, Megabass has like the sleeper crawl and stuff like that, but I'm sure it catches fish. But this is, just an alternative crawl style bait. But that's not a soft plastic. That's not a whatever. This is something I fish offshore primarily. 20-pound line. The reason I use 20-pound line is the thick diameter drags the bait down deeper. So lighter line actually sinks slower than big line. And having that 20-pound line, you want it. Also, too, the line is going to lay parallel on the bottom for the, not just where the bait is. It's going to be, the majority of your cast out, the line should be on the bottom. So, in turn, I'm throwing 20-pound because my line is on some rough surfaces throughout the cast where I'm throwing it. I'm primarily throwing this thing on rock, shell, and brush. That's pretty much what I'm throwing it on. There's times I throw it up against the bank, like at Lanier. I've been playing around with it. It's been actually a pretty solid bait for like little rock points. Like I kind of know, like, hey, big ones get around this little knob, on a point. Back in the creek, that kind of stuff. Maybe I catch a few cranking, but I know there's a few more fish. Everybody's hitting it with a shaggy head and a Nico rig. I'll come back and hit him with a Scat. But then just for the rod and reel, it's a 7.2 medium heavy Shimano X Pride. That's just, most standard jig rod ever. Probably most popular. I think every tackle shop pretty much across the country is a 7.2 medium heavy Shimano X Pride. And then just a fast gear ratio. I like the XGs from Shimano's. I usually use the Metanium. It's just the one I like. So basically, the retrieve is pretty simple. You throw it out there and you let it sit. you pretty much just let it sit. You can play on your phone if you want to. You can, put a dip in for the guys that dip, or smoke a cigarette or vape, or I mean, I don't do any of that stuff, but the other guys that do it, you need something to pass the time, and you sit there, and then you snap your rod tip down like a jerk bait. So what that does is this bait is going to kind of mosey down, kind of do its deal. It's just weightless. And then it's going to kind of get into a crevice of either a rock or a shell. And when you snap it back, it's going to look like a crawfish, shooting back. And then it's just going to mosey back down and float like those crawfish. A jig, a half-ounce jig, or, even a 3/8 ounce jig, there's not a lot of people throwing like a quarter. And even a quarter sinks too fast for what an actual crawfish going to the bottom whenever he like floats kind of back. But you're able to still mimic that same like darting speed with the two rod snaps down. Going back to my hook, this is going to sketch a lot of people out what I'm about to say. I am a big proponent of fish care, so I do not throw that bait without bending my barb down, because you're fishing a weightless bait, sometimes 20, 25 foot deep. They will eat it so good to where I feel like I kill the fish if I have a barbed hook. I've thrown it. The first experiences with this bait was at the Bassmaster Open at Lake Wheeler. I was catching them on shell buds. I think day one I caught one big fish on a swim jig and one fish on a football jig, and then the rest of my 10 bass came I guess the 8 of my 10 bass came on a cover scat, which was the number 28 scumpernong kind of color. But unbarbed hooked, just mat it down, and then when they eat it, I just give them the absolute smoke and try to keep them coming. I try not to play them, and because you don't have a barb on there, but fish care is everything, and I feel like it's just not a good. You don't want to have dead big smallmouth floating around with because you killed them. It was on you. But having a sensitive rod is really important, to be able to feel detect those bites. Because, I mean, you're literally fishing something weightless at Wheeler. There's current and everything around. So there's a lot of, like, drag in your line, and you have so many obstacles and stuff that kind of impede on your feel, basically. It's not like it's a tungsten jig going on the bottom. It's literally soft plastic. So having a, unbarbed hooked is key for me. As far as baits go, there's tons of different scat baits. So for me, I'm with depths, hard bait only. I'm still with big bite for soft baits. But like we do on this show, as always, we talk about the goods. We give up the goods. I'm going to talk about everything.
Oh, yeah.
I've done this technique shallower, and I really like the Yamatanuki shallower. It's a really good bait. And then I also like the big bite BSE, the skipping version. It's made for skipping, but it's so dense. If I'm fishing anything like 6 foot less, that little bug is pretty good. But here's some other ones like from Japan that are pretty cool. This is the Revoltage bug from Jackal. I mean, it's, pretty crazy. This is kind of the bait.
Oh my gosh!
Got a lot of arms.
A spider.
This is another really cool bait. This is Berkeley, Japan. This is the Jago Rocket. I believe these are coming to the U.S. next year. But this is a bait that Kent actually designed before he was with Depths. So it actually has super cool little legs. It kind of flutters on the fall. And then that BSE from Big Bite's kind of the same way. So if you want to try some of these big, these bug baits, and you're looking for one, that Big Bite one is really easy to find. These, you gotta know where to get these and where to get these. But that one's really good. And then my favorite by far that I throw 99% of the time is going to be the Depths cover scats for sure. So this one's just by far the heaviest one. It casts the best. And it just really gets a lot of bites. And like I said, it's just a crawfish imitator. There's not much to it. It's just literally whenever the fish are super pressured, I've seen that it's better for me where I throw the most is definitely going to be Tennessee River. So Pickwicks, your Gunnersvilles, anytime when you have a group of fish that ignore a football jig, that ignore a crankbait, and you want to show them something different, it's just a really good bait that fishes extremely well. It's very efficient at 20 to 25 feet deep. Yeah, it sucks letting it sink, but it actually sinks a lot quicker. I think with a hook, it's almost 3/4 of an ounce, that 3.5 size. I want to say I know this one's heavier than the Yamatanuki for sure. So, like, I would say the shallower stuff, the BSC from Big Bite, a little bit deeper range, Yamatanuki, and then the super deep stuff, which is what I'm normally doing, is going to be the 3.5 cover scat. And they make some real big ones and some small ones. And I played around with the small ones, especially out here for spotted bass. It's more like Ned rig size. They definitely bite it. But on Lanier, it's weird because like I get weird with the 20-pound line and stuff, but that's what I need to have to make the bait work. So I might drop down to 15 with the lighter ones here and there if I think it really, makes a difference. But I try to stay around the 20-pound range and just really give those fish, no leverage whatsoever. I'm getting them to come to the boat with the unbarred hook. And then another bait. This is how dumb we were. Like, I don't know. I was still in college. We were buying up Sakamadas like crazy. But we're like, oh, dude, we don't need those, non-salted one. The one everyone wants. We only bought the heavyweights, and we were only buying 7 and 8 inches because this is what we would always throw at Eufaula on brush piles. It's just the 7-inch is probably my favorite size, heavyweight, and I'm throwing this on like a 7/0, basically a beast hook. We call it brutal in Ryugi sizing, 7 or 8/0, depending on the size bait. Same thing, 20-pound or 25-pound, and you want a stiff rod for that. You want more like a heavy or extra heavy rod. Same thing. Snap it twice and basically a dart, and then it'll basically just be like a dying shad. One of my favorite ways to fish it, is just straight dragging it, or I'll actually reel it like a hair jig on schools and then kill it and just kind of let it mosey back down. And like it like, have you ever seen a fluke where you reel it like either like the like any fluke, like the jerk minnow or anything, like you just pull it and it vibrates like for herringfish? Well, we'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
Actually like pull your rod tip and like make it kind of buzz and then just kill it on schools. And that is one of the most kind of sneaky. I mean, I probably shouldn't even talk about that, like the school aspect. I probably should just talk about dragging and brush piles because it really, I mean, dude, they smoke it in brush. Like these lakes, like your Eufalas, your Seminoles, your Pickwicks, like places that just got big ones, your Texas lakes that just eat big stuff, like where you oftentimes get more bites when you go bigger. That's when I like the heavyweight stuff. And they make the 5-inch and the 6-inch. Those are all fine and dandy. But for me, I really like the 7-inch. It's just probably my favorite size for doing that style, just because you can throw it so far and you can fish it so efficiently. The 8 is pretty big. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like it takes a big one to eat that. But the 7, it's like still perfect size. Like that one I have right there, that's the 8-inch. You can still catch them on it, no doubt, but the 7 just seems like more of like a perfect size when you're just targeting. I would say just like 4 to 7 pound, like places that just got big ones, and
Yeah.
like that's what I like to do with it.
Universal size, if you will, whereas the 8 is like to weed out some of the smaller bites.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the 8 is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the 8 is huge. Like it is ginormous. The 7 just gets bites. 6 is a really. If you're just gonna try it and you still want to catch big ones, 6 is a good size to start out with. But 6 and 7s, and then the cool thing is like I know I talked to Matt at Optimum Mix the other day, and I think there's a lot of shipments of heavyweights coming. So, it's not a bad strolling bait either. A lot of guys accidentally get them, and they're like, upset that they got the heavyweight ones, but you can still stroll them with the right head, and if you know what you're doing with the right rod and everything like that, no big deal. But for me, I try to use that heavyweight for doing that, the bottom contact stuff. As Kenta calls it, fishing like co-angler. So just dragging around. And if you go back to the Bassmaster Open on San Rayburn a couple of years ago, not this past one, I think it was 3 Opens ago. I think it was 2020, the one they had in the fall when Masasuke Masashita won.
Yeah.
All 7-inch Sakabata, dragon and brush files. So I caught all his fish pretty much the whole week, and it's kind of a sneaky little deal. Gets a lot of big bites, but yeah, it's pretty much what I got.
That's sick. So we're gonna break this down a little bit because there was a lot to I think unpack there for the folks because you dropped a lot of juice there. So going back quick to the cover scat. So with this one, like when you're talking about when fish aren't eating a football jig, that sort of thing, this is the time to pick this up. Really, just to go back quick to how you work that. You mentioned kind of working it almost kind of like you would a jerk bait. Can you kind of go in break that down a little bit further? So like when you're casting this, you're letting it hit bottom. And are you wanting slack in your line? Like kind of walk through the process of that a little bit deeper if you could.
Yeah, I'll literally just let it sit, like just sink to the bottom. And you'll like know when it gets on the bottom because it'll almost like get stuck. Like it'll get stuck in like a crevice and then you just kind of pop it out of the crevice. Like you're purposely trying to get it stuck. And that's what you're trying to do. Trying to get it stuck and make it look like it's a crawfish, basically hiding in the bottom and then trying to get away. So what they call that technique in Japan, it is escape mode. So the bait is trying to escape. So you're trying to hide the bait and then have it escape. So basically try to get it stuck. You'll just feel it just kind of get on the bottom, like kind of get tight and then just snap it free. And it's, obviously pretty weedless bait. It comes through a lot of stuff really well. The cool thing about the depth too, with that 4-aught Ryugi, is it's got a little slit in the bottom of it. So, hook holds nice, but it's got that little kind of raised. You can't really see that. It's just got that little raised little bump. Mm-hmm. And all that is just for your hook point to go in there to make sure it's extra weedless. And you get a really good hook on those fish. But like I said, barbless hook is key. You don't want to be killing these fish, especially big ones.
That's a marketing campaign right there. Our bait's so good, you don't want barbs on your hooks.
I mean, like it literally is. Like that's like before I was with them, I was like, I literally have to bend that on the barb. And like Kenta does the same thing. Like it's just a fish care thing. And they catch them so
that's
good.
Something
that
people could do too, like in replace of say flipping a Texas rig, could they go flip this around like holes in the grass or grass edges type of deal?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what you see like the Yamatanuki marketed for, is more like the American style scat. Because this bait originally was for that. It was made to skip under logs and underneath grass and bushes and docks and that kind of stuff, and kind of like snap it back and like kind of make it walk the dog underwater. And you can absolutely catch them that way. Just for me, like when I'm up shallow, I got confidence baits and stuff like that. This for me is going to be more of an offshore, deeper deal. But obviously you catch a ton of fish, and that's kind of how guys catch them on the Yamatanuki, that BSE from Big Bite, best skipper ever. It's literally designed to skip like crazy under docks and under floats and you name it. And it's got the little legs to do this deal. But for me, this technique, the gravity bait deal, is going to be more of a deep water deal for me, for sure.
Okay,
got it.
Yeah, and so I guess with that too, like when you're talking about getting this thing stuck, should people be expecting to get hung up on it, or is it fair? Like if you rig it right, is it fairly good at getting unhung, if you will?
It's pretty good at getting unhung, yeah, for sure. You're obviously going to lose some here and there, especially like the big, like giant rocks, like that are like, there's like one place on Pickwick that I can know that I've like done some damage on in the past that like they bite it there, but you do lose some there just because of the way it's like an old something down there. But pretty much it's pretty weedless, so it goes through stuff pretty good.
I'm excited to try this thing, man. I'm sure for Andy too. My mind's already going through the different things that I could, like places, times of year to go throw it. I went and bought the big ones, the 4-inch, and you were talking about with the 3.5 throwing that 3. I'm like, man, I should go check on what actually I'm throwing this thing. And I see the 4-inch.
Yeah.
Here in the description, Omnia, it says 3.5-inch throw a 3-aught, but if you're gonna throw the 4-inch, throw a 6-aught or a 7-aught. So what is the big
it's
change
a lot
from that?
more plastic. Yeah, it's a lot more plastic. I mean, the 4-aught for me, just in the right sizing, just seems to be perfect. Some guys like the smaller hook, but for me, especially using no barb, I want to get the biggest gap possible without without messing up the bait and messing up the action. So 4-aught seems to be a good size for me.
Yeah.
And it also fits like just perfect with the bait. Like I want to say this bait was designed for that infinity, just because it's also got that like kind of open spot, like carved out spot underneath, and that's like for the actual bend of the hook to fit just perfect. So
yeah,
definitely made for. I know Spro made or not Spro, what do they call it? Gamakatsu made the one with the line tie and made for flukes and cover scat baits.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. I just don't like that just worm hook for that bait, So
some wider gap.
I like the more wide gap for sure. So
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Andy, what are your thoughts on the poop bait? What's your head
trying to think? I'm trying to think of what rock pile I want to throw it on to catch a smallmouth this summer.
Oh, it's a smallmouth killer, honestly. I know, like Kenta caught him on that Jago rocket at Oneida a couple years ago when we went up there. I think he caught all of his on that. It was just jack him 20 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the most intriguing part to me, is that I can actually catch him with a bait caster. So it's like,
yeah, it's cool. Like any place that you've ever caught him, like dragging that micro football around, it's like, yeah, they'd buy it too.
My question is it's just with that 4-aught hook and 20-pound test, what is like the rate of fall? Because you can obviously see it going down on your live scope if you're throwing it out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
800 feet. So relative rate of fall.
I want to say it's like 2 feet a second. I think it's like 2 feet a second, maybe a little more. Like it's pretty quick. Yeah, it's pretty.
So you're waiting 20 seconds for it to get down.
No, maybe not 2 feet a second. It's probably more like a foot. It's probably more like a foot a second. I would say probably.
Waiting a minute for it to get to the bottom on Erie.
Oh, you wait a second, but it's worth it. But I also throw it in places that have lots of fish, so like a rock pile or places that's a home to bass, or like I really like to throw it on schools. Like that's probably my favorite way to throw it, is actually on like there's like 50 of them right there and they don't bite. That's where I throw. So it just seems to be a little bit better bait for that. And and also I don't have patience to be like, I hope one swims by, because it's not like you're like looking at it on you're not really targeting singles with it. You can, obviously, you can do that with any bait with live scope, but my preferred method, if one's, snailing on the bottom, snaking the bottom, I'm not going to wait my, 20 seconds for my thing to hit the bottom and then just work it. I want there to be like 50 of them in one place. They all live on that rock, or they live on that little shelf or that ditch mouth or whatever. And I like to throw it as many as possible. Just because it wastes some time. Like you'll sit there and waste some time, if you're not around them and like just dragging around, and I like to move around and I like to fish pretty quick. So it's like, it kills me to throw this thing. I literally like sit on my knees and like just play with my live scope, like play with settings on it, just like fishing, seeing what different color palettes and stuff look like, like just give me something to do, but you'll just feel it. And like, it'll like when one bites it, it'll either be like a worm bite whenever they eat it on the fall, or it'll just kind of get heavy for a second and it'll just load up on it. So, and you'll like reel in your slack. You're like there. Yeah. That's why you take the bar off. And that's like, I didn't have the right hook size. Like I threw it at Toledo Bend a couple years ago in that open. I caught them like my big ones. Day 2, all offshore, like 32. I think the school topped out at 28 foot, and there's a lot of little spotted bass in the schools, but the bigger largemouth were staying on the outside, like kind of ledge. And I was catching them on that big Magnum spoon, trying to like weed out the spots so they wouldn't eat it. So I started throwing that guy, and I lost a lot of fish just because I didn't know about, I don't think I even had like 8/0 hooks with me, like something huge. And like I also wasn't throwing on the right rod. I was throwing it like just on my football jig rod, which is like a 7.6 medium heavy. Like I need something to drive a hook, and when they're that deep, you have that much slack in your line, and it's like you can't really like tighten up on them, because you don't know what's really, slack and what's fish. And then once you kind of feel them, like you got to jack them. That's why like all the Japanese guys out there are throwing on pretty stiff rods. So at least the guys that I talk to, anyways.
So you mentioned how like this is a primary for you to like try and imitate crawdad, kind of replace a football jig, something along the lines of there. And I'm looking here on Omnia at the depths cover Scat. And there's some colors like the pearl white, silver flake, chartreuse. There's some shad like colors on here. Are guys successfully using this for shad patterns, like to mimic a shad, or is this simply just an option that depths put in there?
Yeah, like you definitely can. Like we throw like Nico Fat a lot in the Yamamoto lineup. Since like I'm trying to think, like just in a traditional like 5-inch Cinco, like electric shad, like yeah, it's a worm color, but electric shad imitates blueback herring like better than any other color. Like natural shad, that's just such a good color for that. It's not something I've played with a whole bunch, but obviously that's something that I'm going to try. Because light bulb went off. I just always just buy like literally this color and like the one that is forgot what the other color. There's a couple really good colors, but I would say like if I had to have one, it's either that one or green pumpkin, and I can like get a marker and do whatever I need to do with them, to make them look kind of crawdaddy. Yeah. And I'm trying to think of what the other color is called. One's like a green pumpkin party or green pumpkin candy kind of color. It's pretty good for spotted bass, especially if you had a little bit of sharp on the tail. And then I'm trying to think of what else the other one was called. I don't know. It'll come to me later, but
competing pretty heavy with the wife on Amazon boxes compared to the amount of bait boxes you're getting in on the daily.
Yeah, I get a lot of tackle. And I work at a tackle store, so that doesn't help either. So,
so you're not getting paid; you're getting paid in product allowance.
Paid in baits.
Yeah. We're there for the discount. We got the rest of the week. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
She must have told you need to get a job and start getting some for free.
Yeah, no doubt.
With that,
she's gone right now, and I don't know where these Amazon boxes keep coming from. So, I don't know.
She just wanted some presents when she got home.
Yeah, I guess so.
I got the same problem, buddy.
Well,
it's not really a problem. As long as they keep getting Amazon boxes, it gives us excuses to keep getting bait boxes, so we're good.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah,
it's funny. Somebody came into Tackle Warehouse the other day, and she was like, "It's my husband's birthday or something. I'm gonna go buy him some tackle or whatever." And I checked her out or whatever, gave her the bag. Well, Tackle Warehouse, the retail location, shares the space with the riding warehouse. So she's like, "I was wondering why there's so many riding warehouse, shopping bags at my house, and now I know where they come from." He said he hasn't been telling me that he's been buying all this tackle.
Oh,
figuring out like I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry to get your husband in trouble all today, but it will."
Yikes!
Yeah, side hobby. Psych.
Rip.
He's a writer.
So lastly, to break down the stuff you went through with the big sakamadas, that big fluke style, you're talking primarily fishing those deep. Is there any time you'll apply that somewhere shallow, like instead of whether you're throwing a glide or something to have that still have that big presentation.
Yeah, brim beds for sure. Brim beds for sure. That's kind of like when we figured out like the 7-inch deal. It was all, and especially the green pumpkin one was all brush piles placed on red ear sunfish bluegill beds. Like guys would like side scan around, find where the deeper bluegill beds were, and then drop a pile. You don't really need the brush pile there, but it obviously helps. Just gives them a place, a home. You know, those fish that eat bluegill like that live. You know, they kind of hang around and mosey off. You know, back offshore a lot of the times, and then at night, or early in the morning, or in the afternoons, whenever they come up, eat some brims, and that's where I think it really plays. Just having something big profile, and then obviously you can throw more of a green pumpkin kind of color and make it look like a, you know, more bluegill color, but for me, I just think a big profile, you know, the biggest thing about fishing nowadays is it doesn't have to look like something that's natural in the lake. It just has to act natural more than anything. Like you see that a lot with, you know, the dice baits and stuff that come in, you know, it just acts like, you know, the water displacement of all the little tentacles and doing whatever. Like that's why they bite it, because it looks like it's something, it belongs there, even though nothing looks like that. You know, it's acting, you know, innocent little krill swimming around or something, you know, they bite it.
Yeah. Makes sense. Andy, you got anything else on the fluke stuff before we start wrapping this sucker up?
No, I'm actually intrigued
rod
by
on
that.
the fluke.
Go ahead.
Rod on the fluke is going to be a 7.6 extra heavy. I don't know if I said that or not.
Okay. Emphasis on the extra.
Yeah. Extra heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, you need big bad boy. And what's your favorite hook with that as well? Because you mentioned the hook with the scat bait, but not the fluke, I don't think.
Yeah, it's going to be like a 7 or 8 brutal. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that they call it
like
brutal.
Yeah, it's the brutal TC. Like, we also have an infinity brutal.
I love that they call it the brutal hook, Andy. It just
sorry, Hyperline or
it sounds brutal. Badass, but yet like at the same time, like you're gonna kill everyone.
So that one's the infinity brutal. So it's that exact same hook shape. It's just a bigger gauge. That one, I go back and forth. This one is like more like the screw lock, which is good. I like that one more for like the 7-inch, and then the 8-inch, I like the brutal. And these like weigh a little bit more, like they're thicker gauge, so it helps it get down a little bit deeper. But one of these two, usually, I'm not a huge screw lock guy, but this does have a pretty big gap, so sometimes we'll, you know, use that one as well.
Dang it.
Yeah, just like some serious tackle, honestly. Like you gotta have, like, if you got big ones, these are the baits you need to get for sure.
Yeah. All right. For somebody that's listening to this, that's in, you know, wants to get into it, start it. Obviously these baits aren't, you know, they're not terribly expensive, but they're also not on the cheaper side either. So if they're going in, you've been talking about the 3.5-inch, what is like a, you know, if they're going to go say buy 2 packs of the cover scat and then 2 packs of like the 7-inch, you know, Sakamata shad, you know, what colors would you recommend for somebody that wants to start out and just get bites, maybe something that's universal?
Yeah, so like I would just go green pumpkin or that scumpernog color. Either one is like, they have dyes, and everybody has dyes and paints, and they can make whatever. Green pumpkin can look like anything, you know, a brim, a crawdad, whatever. So green pumpkin on the cover scat for sure. And then on the Sakamata, honestly, reservoir shad is probably, for the places I'm throwing that, like a lot of the time, reservoir shad is a really good one. That's probably the best one, honestly. Like for Tennessee, places that have big ones, like where they basically anywhere they eat a chartreuse, powder blue, 10XD, they eat a reservoir shad. So,
I like it.
Yeah, pretty much it.
Right.
Yeah, those would be the 2 colors I would have.
Sick.
I like
Well,
that.
dude,
Yeah.
one, appreciate you taking time to come on here and dropped a lot of freaking juice on us tonight. We'll probably get the text from him after the show drops, like, "Hey, dude, I need you to delete this, actually, if you know, if you don't mind."
Yeah.
But
He's already thinking that.
yeah, he's like, "Ah,
Yeah.
crap."
I mean, I just get fired up about fishing, and anybody that's watching that wants to go kind of learn some of these more non-traditional bass fishing techniques, let me know. I'm guiding on Lake Lanier, and really anywhere in North Georgia. And then I do um, I do trips in Alabama as well. Still, whenever I'm over there, I just try to schedule them kind of a couple of days in advance, or like if you want to go for multiple days on one or two lakes, let me know, and I try to plan those trips more like a month in advance, 2 months in advance, just kind of get the schedule lined up. But I'm at Lake Lanier. You guys can find me on Instagram. It's Jake Mad. I think it's J Mad Fishing under
We'll have it
something like
linked for
that.
you.
J Mad Fishing. Just look up J Mad Fishing. You'll find me, and they'll tag me on here, I'm sure. We'll go fishing Lake Lanier, catch big largemouth. Then we also got a little sneaky lake in North Georgia that we're gonna start doing some swim bait trips on. So
Ooh, heck
yeah, no stripers, and it's stocked with herring and trout. So
Rutro.
it'll be pretty sweet.
Sounds fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sign me up. Well, cool, man. Yeah, like we said,
Yeah.
we'll have everything linked for your socials down below. We'll have the baits that we talked about linked down below, all the ones that you talked about, and then yeah, man, dude, seriously appreciate the time as always. Make sure you guys follow along with Jake's socials, and yeah, man, what anything else that's coming up that is on the horizon for you, derbs or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, like it's dude, it's so weird because we fished the first Bassmaster Open at Clarksville. Had a great second day, had terrible first day, and I'm like just itching to go, get some revenge on them. And we got the Tom Bigby River, and it's not until April, so I'm gonna ride out there, go fish around on Tom Big Tom, and try to go see what's up down there. That's gonna be a pretty cool event, though. I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be pretty sweet. Like I'm fired up for it. I mean, all I know about that place, I think there's some magnum spotted bass in that place, and they don't get talked about. And I don't think anybody knows that they're there. Probably shouldn't even said that. And then there's also, I mean, back in the day, it used to be pretty good. And I think they had a big fish kill. And then I know they did some restocking in the lake about 10 years ago. So they go there. There's some tournaments there. Usually it's like a, 16, 17, 18 pounds a day place. I mean, probably 15 a day in the 3-day derby is probably going to be pretty good there. But it's got hyacinth and mats. It looks like it's got a lot of sand timber. And we're going at, probably what should be the best time of year to go fish a place like that. So looking forward to it. Going to go see what's up. And, yeah, fired up for it.
Heck yeah, dude.
Sounds
We'll be
fun.
keeping up with it.
Middle of nowhere also, which is cool.
Yeah, I think every angler appreciates that too, because that makes the place a little bit less pressured when you got nothing there to nothing around there anyway to attract you to. But
yeah,
buddy,
this
appreciate you always. Say what?
Yeah, I said one thing that also sketch is they have a community college on the water for like teaching people how to use the barges and like going up and down those locks. So there's like way more barge traffic than like normal, like because they're practicing. So if you're trying to go anywhere else, like it's probably going to be pretty sketchy.
That'll be interesting.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe they cancel class for those few days for you.
I hope so. I hope so.
Interesting.
Guys, appreciate you having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Always
Jake.
good to talk fishing with you guys.
Yeah, buddy.
Bailey,
We'll keep in touch. We'll be talking to you soon.
All right, sounds good. See ya.
Man. See ya.
All right, folks, and that's going to do it for Mr. Jake Maddox. Make sure you guys are tuning into his social profiles because this was a wild one talking about pooping big flukes. But
pooping flukes, baby.
It's effective, man, especially a guy like that. I mean, if people follow Jake Maddox, they know what we're talking about. Experiments with a bunch of different baits, techniques, things like that. Has a lot of, especially the brands he works with, ties to that JDM Japanese, culture of bassin. So it's cool to tap into all that, and he's great, obviously, at letting the juice loose, if you will, on the show. But man, what are some of your takeaways from this beyond the fact that we probably both ordered more cover scats and giant Sakamata sheds?
Yeah, I as he's talking, I'm like, ooh, where can I throw that on Erie with guide clients? Can they resist the urge to not reel it long enough, right? Like, or take their time letting it get down. But the 7-inch heavyweight Sakamata, I'm like, I know where I want to throw that. So I think I'm gonna need to get some when they come to stock. I'm like, just from graphing around, I'm like envisioning where, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna get him right there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Like,
Yeah.
hmm.
Well, that was an awesome one. So shout out to Jake for joining us. As always, he's been awesome here at Serious Angler or Lure Lab. He's an avid of the Serious Angler Network shows, but hopefully you guys appreciate that. And I guess without further ado, next week, what you guys have to look forward to is we have a real biology segment dropping on Serious Angler Monday, and that is going to be with Troy. Troy is a guy that is, when you talk about these organizations, companies that are in charge of spraying vegetation and picking the chemicals and all that stuff to eradicate those or control those vegetation, he's one that's in charge of it, and he's very, very, very intelligent. So we actually go through that, how all that process works from spraying grass, what works, what, the whole ins and outs logistics of why you should or should not spray grass. Very interesting episode because there's gonna be a lot of opinions flying around. And obviously, it hits home for us, Andy, being in some of our fisheries are controlled horribly.
They love to spray.
Yeah, they love their chemicals here in the Finger Lakes. But yeah, it's a great episode with Troy. So you got that to look forward to. And then on Wednesday next week, a little precursor for y'all. We got a double header, and that is we get Mikey Balls, who shout out just hit 100K on YouTube. Shout out to the OG.
Oh, we did
And then
it.
Mr. Caleb Bell. So we got two absolute freaking fishing nerds join the show at the same time. So there's a good chance that either that show next week is 1 hour or 7 hours. We don't know yet because once you get those two going, there is no stopping them. We don't want to stop them because all they talk about is juice. So great episodes coming up. Hope you guys are enjoying it. If you are, please leave us a rating, review, subscribe to the channel. If you are on YouTube, drop us a comment down below if there's any specific topics you'd like us to cover off on. Because otherwise, it's just us dummies that are just like, oh, yeah, this would be cool to talk about. This would be cool to talk about. If you got something, let us know. We'll incorporate it into the lineup. But Andy, anything else for the folks?
No, can we just go fishing? Like, that's all I want to do. Oh, my God.
By this time next week, as people hear this, I will be on the water. Sucker.
Rub it in.
Yeah.
Rub it in.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode. Appreciate y'all.
Thank
and
y'all.
we'll see you guys on Monday.